want to go through today what are creative finance terms, and when somebody, maybe one of my students is reaching out to you as an agent or a seller, and they're saying, hey, would you sell your house to me on terms? I want to explain that to you today so that you are better informed, you know what questions to ask, etc. This might be a long video, so stay with me. Let's call this person.
Hello, is this Pace?
This is Pace, who's this?
Hey Pace, it's Armando Padilla, how you doing?
Hi Armando, the deal is in Maricopa County. What's the monthly payment?
The monthly payment right here on the VA loan is $13.26 a month, and there's $250 remaining on it.
Okay, $13.13.
Yep, and then there's a second position at $90K, but there's a 5-year balloon on that second position.
And you got to, wow, this is a deal, bro.
I know, there's so many factors.
No, it's not the factors. It's that the reason why this is not a great deal is because of that solar loan, the seller finance position. You look at the $2,200 that it's currently renting for right now, it does not cash flow. And you think about it, you go, okay, well, total monthly payment with my $13.13 plus my $165, which is my solar, and my seller finance note, which is $325, you're like, oh, no, Pace, that does cash flow. It's $1,803 at $2,200 a month. Well, management of the property, who's going to manage it? I got to pay for management. And then the other thing is I'm going to go raise that $45,000 that you guys are asking for, and that $45,000 is going to have a payment on it probably close to like $350 a month to cover the cost of me getting into that deal. So this property actually will have a negative cash flow of probably close to $400 if somebody does it that way.
This is like the first one that I wrapped up and tried to wholesale. I appreciate you going into it like that.
If inflation is 7% a year, and I go put $45,000 into this property, I got to at least tell you that my $45,000 is deteriorating at 7%. Like, you have to have a cost of capital in your calculation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you're saying there's tenants in here right now?
Yeah, there is tenants in there right now.
Why is the seller selling then?
He had a life event with his mom, and he has to go back out to where his mom lives.
Okay.
Somewhere in the Midwest. He's in the military, which is why he has the VA loan on it, but he's getting called out there, and he's just pretty much sick of the property. He wants to get out of it, and his cousins have been the tenants, and he pretty much just wants to get rid of it and go out with his mom in the Midwest.
Okay, so he's got cousins that are probably taking advantage of him to a certain degree. Are they bad tenants or anything, or are they doing okay?
From the past 4 months since I've had this deal under contract, they just haven't been paying. So
okay.
I'm just guessing at this point he doesn't want to deal with his family members anymore. They're just not being good tenants. When I walked through it about 2 months ago, I mean, they're taking care of it, they're cleaning it up, but it just seems like they're not making the payments for it.
Okay, so he's been, is the house behind on payments right now or no?
Yeah, it is in arrears.
Okay, and that is included in the $45,000?
Yes. It's $9,500 in arrears.
$9,500 in arrears. Are you sure of that?
Yeah. I have the statement from the title company. We had a buyer lined up, but they backed out.
Why?
Because they found out of the $9,500.
Okay, but why would the buyer care about the $9,500 if it was included in their $45,000?
At the time, the price was much higher. It was like $65,000 before, and then I got a reduction, which is why I'm trying to resell this deal.
Okay, got it. So you got a reduction on the deal. Why wouldn't you just go back to that buyer and say, hey, I got a reduction, buy this deal?
He thinks it's too much work at this point now with that tenant. He just doesn't want to deal with maybe having to evict the tenant.
Yeah, and it looks like the property needs like probably $15,000 in repairs. It's got like carpet issues, blinds that are bad, probably needs a paint job. Somebody's gonna have to go in there and spend money on the property if you have to evict somebody. It might even be more than that. Yeah. So it doesn't current cash flow, which is what your listing says. It says it currently cash flows, which it won't. The second you take it over, I've got an eviction and I've got legal fees on the property.
Okay.
Right, because I'm gonna have to take them over. I'm gonna hire an eviction attorney. I'm gonna evict them. I'm gonna have 2, maybe 3 months of payments while it's empty, while they're not paying and I'm evicting them. I evict them. I have to go in now for 20 days, repair the property, then put it back on the market. I'll probably have 5 months of vacancy and legal fees in order to buy this deal.
Okay.
What's the lowest you guys can go on your 45 grand?
Yeah, so the lowest I have it at, it's 26, just completely, the contract right now is $26K to the seller and then the $9,500 in arrears, so just $35K to close it.
Okay, so you guys are looking for a $10,000 assignment.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm just looking to sell this deal because we already had a buyer lined up and I just want to get it done. So, I mean, I don't even care about the assignment anymore. I just want to get it done. Like, there's other deals I could be working on.
How about this? I will give you a $5,000 assignment. I won't give you the $5,000 assignment until you sell me a second deal, and I'll give you an assignment fee on the second deal and release your $5,000 to you at the same time.
Yeah, let's do it, man. If you can close this deal up, man, I just want to get the seller out of the house.
Let's do it. Shoot me your full contact information. I'm going to text you and Molly together. She's my transaction coordinator. She'll work with you and we'll get this thing closed.
Appreciate it, man. So I'll send it over.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Man, I could do a 2-hour dissertation about what I just did there. Did you see what I did there? One thing I can tell you is I just know the real estate game so much better than most people. And so I'm getting the story of why somebody's selling it. And I immediately go, oh, he's got cousins. Why did I put a star there before he even told me? Then he said late payments. He's got arrears because I said, oh, I imagine the cousins are probably causing issues. Okay, so that means he's late. Yep, he's got arrears. Oh, okay, I knew that. Is it part of my 45 grand? Yes. Okay, 9,500? It's not 9,500. The $9,500 is from the title company. Nothing against the title company, but the title company is not the bank. So what's going to happen is the title company is going to go to the bank and say, hey, bank, how much does this seller that's going through a life event, how much does he owe in arrears? And the title company is going to say 9,500, okay? 9,500 plus legal fees of $5,000. They're going to be $5,000 off on this. I got the guy to admit to me he's making a $10,000 assignment. I also just worked down his $10,000 assignment to $5,000 assignment. And what did I also do there, Eric? I delayed the assignment fee to entice him to sell me a second deal. I don't want to pay that $5,000, especially on a deal that I have to do eviction and legal fees. It's going to cost me 10 grand. So I'd rather take his assignment fee, pay towards that, cover all of those costs, than give him a $10,000 fee. But what I will do is I'll say, I will pay you $5,000 for this deal, but I won't pay it to you until you sell me a second deal. So now I have $5,000 of a bonus over here sitting on a second deal that hasn't existed yet to entice Armando to sell me a second deal. This is like creative real estate at its finest. The fact that you can control things so well by understanding how this all works is just ridiculous. This is why you get a transaction coordinator. Okay, watch how easy this is. You want to know how paperwork gets done and how things happen on my plate? I'm telling you, I'm showing you right now. I just bought a Subto deal. Watch how fast I can pass it on to my transaction coordinator, and I'll never have to deal with or see that property ever again because I built a good team with transaction coordination. I'm going to take the listing, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to put this with Molly and Armando, and I'm going to put the listing in here. Hey, Molly, meet Armando Padilla. He's going to be selling us a deal in Maricopa. I just did a deal with him where it's a $35,000 entry fee to buy the deal Subto. We're taking over a 2.75% interest rate loan, and then the seller is going to have a second lien position at 0% with a 5-year balloon. We need to write in the agreement with Armando that we will pay him $5,000 assignment fee on this deal, but not until he brings us a second Subto deal here in Maricopa County. Armando, thank you, man. Molly's going to get with you and work out the details of the deal. Molly, we have a tenant in the property that's going to have to be evicted. There you go. Thanks. So 1-minute voice memo and I'm done. Here's the terms of that deal that I just talked to Armando. The purchase price is $450,000. Okay. The down payment, my total cost to get into the deal is going to be $35,000. What does that include? Well, that includes $9,500 in arrears. Seller's getting $25,000, it sounds like, out of this. And then I've got closing costs, and then I've got a future $5,000 assignment to Armando for bringing this deal to me. So technically Armando is making $5,000 finding this deal for me and negotiating and working with the seller to get this deal done, but I'm not going to pay him on that until he brings me a second deal. 2.75% interest on the Subto deal, and that's $360,000 is left on that loan. And so I don't need to negotiate this, right? The payment on this is already set in stone at $1,313 a month. Now, the length of time on the first, it doesn't matter. But on the second loan, which is 0% interest, $90,000 loan that is still owed to the seller, the original guy, we'll be making a $325 payment to the seller every month at 0% interest. We are also taking over a solar loan, $165 a month as well, okay? So let's talk about this. As a buyer, it's really important for me to make sure that I buy properties that cash flow or break even, okay? So when you're working a deal, I know how quickly a property cash flows or doesn't cash flow, so let's talk about that. Currently, nobody's paying rent at $2,200 a month. There's nobody paying $2,200 a month. The tenant is the seller's cousin, which means family, oh my gosh, I already know they're not paying the rent. So I'm gonna call the cousins and say, I'm buying the property, we're gonna evict you, it's gonna go on your record, or you can catch up the payments and we'll keep you in the property at $2,200. Why would I wanna do that? Well, I would do that because I wanna help people. Secondly, I would do that because I wanna avoid going in there and spending money on renovation and having 5 months of vacancy on the property while I'm making these payments. Because even though the property is vacant when I buy it, am I going too fast? Does it make sense? Guys, if I'm going too fast, please let me know in the comments. Tell me I'm going too fast. I mean, I wish you were here live with me, but you're not. So just make a comment down below. Tell me if I'm going too fast or if you like the teaching style. The $325 to the seller, the $1,313 sub-2 loan, and the solar payment, even if the property is vacant after I close escrow, I still have to pay those payments. So I actually have a lot of risk on me, but I'm willing to do it for 2.75 and 0%. It's 2024, my friends, and y'all are out there going and doing burr loans at 8% and 9%. This is why creative finance is so amazing, is because I'm helping a seller, a deal finder's making money, and I'm accumulating a rental in my portfolio at really, really low interest, which is awesome. $2,200 is what I could rent it for. But if my cost is $1,818 a month, I'm not making any money. The difference is $382 a month. And so other people will say, oh, you're cash flowing $382 a month. No, I'm not. Because what I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna go get a private money lender to bring the $40,000 or $35,000 to the table, and my payment to them is gonna be like $350 a month already. So I basically don't make any money. And then who's gonna manage it? Who's gonna deal with vacancy and repairs? Well, guess what? I'm gonna have to buy this is a non-cash flowing deal, but there are reasons why I would buy this deal. I really think the seller should not be getting 90 grand. I think personally, the person who structured this deal, they gave the seller way more benefit than the buyer gets. What benefit does the buyer get? Okay, I got interest, really low interest, but I have a non-cash flowing deal on day one after I just sunk a bunch of capital into the deal. Guys, I could make money other places than sinking it into a non-cash flowing deal. Now, if you want to see videos of why we buy real estate outside of just cash flow, I would have my team put a link in the description down below so you guys can see that video. But this is a deal I will buy because there are other benefits to me buying this rather than just the cash flow, okay? So there's the structure. $450 purchase price. My down payment's $35,000. The interest rate on the sub-2 deal is 2.75. The interest rate on the seller carry is 0%. Guys, if you're a seller right now watching this video and one of my students sent this to you, the majority of the deals we do are 0% seller finance, okay? Because we're giving you a number you asked for and we're asking for a low down payment and low interest in return. It's just the way business is done. You got to give and you got to take, right? Give and take. So length of time, indefinite until it's paid off, right? So let's say this is it's probably a 2-year loan based on where the interest rate is. Probably came from 2021, somewhere around there. When those loans were originated in 2021, interest rates were like below 3%, right? It's probably 2 years old, which means I have 28 more years to make that payment. That's my length of time. So I don't negotiate that. That's already set in stone because that loan is already there. Now the length of time for the seller on the 90,000 is he wants that to have a 5-year balloon. So 2 separate balloons, one for the sub-2 deal and one for the seller finance note. So that's terms.